What's up, Lantern fans? It's the Emerald Enthusiast, coming at you once again with another Green Lantern product review. This time I'm taking a look at the War of the Green Lanterns McFarlane Gold Label figure of Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner. I am very happy to own yet another Lantern-centric figure from McFarlane, and I can never get enough Kyle Rayner figures, so let's start this review by getting a look at the packaging details now. On this side it says Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner from War of the Green Lanterns. There's some product information here on the bottom. On the top we get a partial window where we can see the figure. And here on the side we get another partial window. And it says Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner. And on the side, we get this QR code for the DC Universe Infinite service. There's no biography on the back, but there is some really cool artwork of Kyle wearing the blue ring. On the front, it says DC Multiverse, Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner. You can see the basic black base behind Kyle's foot. You can see the accessories off to the side here, including this personal power battery, as well as the energy effects that go on his hands. In the upper corner here, we see the gold label sticker, and of course, the figure itself is off to the right. While I am a fan of McFarlane's packaging, I really wish they would make better use of the space underneath figures. That would allow the figure to be more centered within the packaging and look better as a mint-on-card piece. And with that being said, now it's time to bust this figure out of the package and see what's inside. Here is the figure free of the outer packaging, but still bound to the inner plastic. Here's a look at the inner cardboard tray with the trading card and peg base. Here's a look at the DC logo peg base. Here is a close-up of the trading card, which features the same artwork from the back of the packaging. Here's a brief write-up of War of the Green Lanterns. The back of the trading card features a summary of how Kyle, Guy, John, and Hal each wore other core rings during War of the Green Lanterns. If you'd like to read this, go ahead and pause the video and do so now. And here we see Kyle Rayner out of the package and ready to spread hope across the DC universe. I was a fan of Kyle wearing a blue ring, and I wouldn't mind him returning to that role in the near future, and I certainly hope we get other Blue Lantern Corps members from McFarlane as well. And with that being said, let's take a closer look at the loose details now. Let's have a look at accessories here. And we get these two energy effects for the fists, as well as this blue personal power battery. I do appreciate the sculpting on these. They do suggest energy very well. And as you can see, these are very similar. And again, they just slide over the hands. However, these are reused from Parallax. If you'll notice here, they're just a different color. So McFarlane obviously used the same mold. And the same can be said about this personal power battery. As you can see, it's a very light, translucent blue. But there's a giveaway here because it actually has the Green Lantern Corps symbol on the top, just like the personal power battery from Parallax. So while I always appreciate accessories, I do wish that McFarlane could have been a little bit more character specific and a little bit more creative with their accessories. Let's have a look at the lower body now, and if these legs look familiar, they should. Outside of this blue color choice, these are reused parts from the Blackest Night Kyle Rayner. I do like this blue. It's vibrant and eye-catching. You can see the texturing here, again, in the black sections of the costume, and there is this pliable hip piece. Good musculature in the legs and accurate to the character. In terms of articulation, we get a midfoot hinge. There's a ball joint here at the ankle. There's pivoting at the ankle. Double jointed knees here. And that will allow you to get the figure in a running pose if you wish. In terms of hip articulation, you can get the figure to kick forward that far, so I do like that, although you have to worry about stressing out that hip piece. This figure can almost get into a full split. This is far better than some McFarlane figures that I have seen. And you can get the figure to step back, so if you want to get him into a good ring-slinging stance, you can. Let's take a look at the torso now. And the first thing that I noticed is that the blue Lantern Corps symbol is done well. The little breaks in the symbol are on the bottom here, and that's how it should be to be comic accurate. Once again, we get this texturing that runs through both the black and the blue sections of the costume. Some collectors will say that the back of the costume is not accurate. And while that is true, look at these panels, both of which are from War of the Green Lanterns. The one on the left is from Green Lantern Emerald Warriors number 9. The one on the right is from Green Lantern Corps number 60. As you can see, there's not a consistency in the design between these two comics, even though they're part of the same story. So I can't fault McFarlane for tweaking the costume design when they didn't have consistent source material from which to work. In terms of articulation, the waist pivots back and forth. There's a swivel here on the upper torso. You can get him to rock back that far. And there's moderate crunching forward here. I feel like the articulation could be a little better here, but I may just have a figure with tight torso joints. Now let's take a look at the arms. And I do appreciate the sculpting on the gloves. Both the fist on the right hand and the gripping hand on the left are sculpted well. You can see the texturing there once again on the black sections. The musculature looks good. It's accurate to Kyle. He's not overly buff, and that's the way that it should be. I really appreciate the fact that the tops of the shoulder joints are a solid blue, and we don't get a different colored hinge breaking up the color pattern. And as you can see, these are butterfly joints in both shoulders. In terms of arm articulation, there's plenty of movement here at the wrist. You can see that you can move it backward and forward and around like so. Double jointed elbows, and that allows you to fold the arm in half like this. I really appreciate that. The bicep swivel on mine is a little tight, but it is present, and you can get the arm to go out that far to the side. And with the butterfly joints, you can get Kyle in the big power pose here, and that looks excellent. So here is a look at the all-important ring, and it is a mixed bag. I do appreciate that the sides of the ring have been sculpted and the fact that it is on the correct finger. However, once again, it is undersized and I feel like it lacks some sculpting detail. So this is an area that I feel like has been consistently subpar for McFarlane, and I think there's room for improvement. Let's have a look at the head sculpt now, and this should look very familiar to you. Really, the only differences that I see between the three head sculpts of the Kyle Rayner figures is the mouth area. And this one looks just a little odd, and I think some of that is the paint. It almost looks like he's biting his lip. But the shape of the head and the sculpting of the hair, as well as the overall appearance of the mask, all of those combine to make another really excellent head sculpt from McFarlane. Here's a look at the back of the hair. Really, outside of some of that weirdness with the mouth, I don't have any complaints. In terms of articulation, the head moves side to side easily. Unfortunately, the up and down motion is limited, more so than I thought it would be. But there is some head tilting here. I do appreciate the way that McFarlane Toys handles their neck joints. So I would say that there are far more positives than negatives, but there is a little room for improvement. For those of you who are wondering, here is the McFarlane Gold Label Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner next to the War of the Green Lantern 2-pack Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner from DC Universe Classics. By the way, I did a review of this figure as well as the Hal Jordan figure, so make sure to check that out. Here are the three Kyle Rayner figures produced by McFarlane Toys. In the future, I will be doing a comparison video of these 3 figures, so make sure you subscribe and come back for more Green Lantern content. I hope you have enjoyed this review, and I hope you'll stay tuned for some articulation shots. Also, remember to catch me on the Multiverse Musings vidcast, which is available right here on YouTube. And until we meet again, this has been the Emerald Enthusiast, and thanks for watching.